Mr. Puri made about is it the tail wagging the dog? You know, so how much does the medium decide the content? Just the examples that you gave of the various blockbusters in the movies, they're different from what they used to be. So yes, there is content which is king, but it is also different from what it used to be earlier. Like a movie like English English or a Kahani was not expected to do the business that it did, and like even 5 years ago, I don't think a studio would have sort of released it in the way that it did with as many prints, 1,000+ prints kind of thing. You know, it would have been a really small release across India because it's a heroine-dominated film. So obviously there are other factors that are also sort of influencing the right content, so to speak. So I'd like to put the question to each of you: what is the right content in this digital age of new media, which is, you know, television is now old. There is a whole new media. So, yeah. Sandeep, starting with you and to each of you, what is the right content?
The three things कि रास्तों की दिलकशी अपनी जगह, चलने वालों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. यूं तो महफिल में हम पढ़ते रहे, सुनने वालों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. लाख आंसू इश्क भी रोए तो क्या, आसमानों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. Now see, there are three things. If you put a question, I am condensing into three very major points. One, it's a beautiful industry. There's a lot of business. There's a lot of progress. People want entertainment. People want information. And ample is available on the road to grab. That's what I feel. And that's the first factor, कि रास्तों की दिलकशी अपनी जगह, चलने वालों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. Your aptitude and attitude towards media or medium matters a lot. That's one very important factor. The second is, यूं तो महफिल में हम पढ़ते रहे, सुनने वालों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. The research factor and the requirement of the audience, what they are looking for in any of the mediums, whether it's print, radio, television, cinema, what they're looking for. So we have to research a lot to see to it that what my audience is actually looking for. How can I entertain them and how best I can inform them through these mediums. And third one is obviously कि लाख आंसू इश्क भी रोए तो क्या, आसमानों की भी मर्जी चाहिए. कि there are chances, there are certain factors which are not even known to the promoters or producers or the media owners, and suddenly it affects either through the sentiments or emotions which are prevailing in the market, in the country, in the world, and suddenly something which is very unknown becomes super hit. As you said, English, nobody expected this film to be a super hit and doing a business for 50 crore of rupees, and this film has become a super hit and has brought even Sridevi back to the limelight. Now, these are the three very major reasons which I have actually assessed.
Sure. I would like to ask Pulak, you know, what is your take on, you know, television versus new media, and how much is television changing? Because as we spoke about it, you know, I mean, here you have an education sort of driven program which is finding takers, something you would not think that is going to work in a high octave environment of, you know, like reality shows and game shows. So television was a game changer to a large extent because of the access that it has, you know. Now internet is sort of equally accessible. So is that changing anything in terms of television content?
Very interesting question, Priyanka. So if I have to shed some perspective, and as Sandeep has most eloquently summed up with the Sher o Shairi, new media, of course, it's gaining traction, it's rapidly transforming the mediascape that we used to know. But still, when it comes to giving consumers an immersive experience, it's still film and television that rules the roost. While new media is there, it's gaining traction, but it's going to take some time if we really have to see new media, internet companies really bringing a value proposition across the lengths and breadths of this country. Having said that, what really is very interesting is the content propositions these platforms are really coming up with. You know, you have made for digital initiatives, you have content being made only for cell phones. I mean, these are things which were never really in the horizon, even if we looked 5 years back. So television is also learning from new media. and also, looking at forming strategic partnerships when it comes to offering customers a valuable proposition in the form of content differentiation and also content consumption. Now, if we see, like Sandeep correctly mentioned, there is a tendency amongst Indian consumers, perhaps because of the huge plethora of media devices available to the present consumer, that there is a transformation happening from long-form content to bite-sized content, which is indeed another takeaway for a television broadcaster like ourselves, that we have to be concise, we have to be precise, we have to be taught in our messaging in terms of what we really want to deliver. So you had previously serials in Doordarshan like Ramayana, Mahabharata, which went on year after year. I mean, people respected it, people loved it. But whether that experience can be, replicated in today's days and age is doubtful. We have tried a similar experimentation in Live OK, our channel, which is Devo Ka Dev Mahadev, where we see, some analogy that we can draw in terms of the previous experiences that we have had with Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana and B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata. But is that something which will take us to the next leap? That's something where perhaps we'll have to introspect. So, as we experiment, we will continue to learn, we'll continue to observe from new media. This is not a us versus them debate. This is more basically a handshaking, an idea exchanging, and a strategic partnership forming mechanism or a framework that I see will happen going forward in the two mediums.
Right. You mentioned that, you've seen, you drew an interesting comparison between the mythological serials now and earlier. Anything that you would care to sort of share with us in terms of what is, what has changed vis-a-vis this content? Anything in your experience which is kind of new within the same format? Like you have a mythological serial which is doing extremely well from what I hear. Anything new that you added to it and it kind of worked?
Well, a lot of it actually. So we have a consumer insights team who did a brilliant research and came up with some very interesting findings. Like I mentioned, today the Indian viewer is multitasking, right? He is on the move. He needs content as and when he is doing a lot of other things. So how do you basically engage with such a consumer who at any given point of time is engaged on perhaps 10 or 15 different things that are already preoccupying his mindscape? So what we believed is, through this particular program that we came up with, to engage with consumers in multiple mediums, to sustain the interest so that he can also have it in his mobile, he can also access it via internet, so that the sustained engagement, which is absolutely essential for a broadcaster or a content provider like us, helps us to bridge that continuing divide. So what we see is, when it took off, you'll be surprised to know, Priyanka, that it was not really a major game changer that we really saw it to be. But as and when we deployed these multiple tools of connecting to consumers, it really resonated well with Indian viewers. So, and that is a learning, like I said, straight away from new media. How to connect with consumers in more novel ways is something which you are also absorbing continually.
Right. Yeah. Sanjeev, I'll ask you this question. Optimistic Entertainment, what is your experience with content that you generate for television, for the internet, for cell phones? What has changed? Are you doing anything differently? Is there any change at all, or is more of the same?
I think there's a key difference between the two. I think when you're talking about television content, you're creating content for a platform owner who's taking a decision as to who's his viewer, who's taking a decision as to what he wants to engage him with. So I think with television, for content creators, creative autonomy is also always going to be a question. There are research figures thrown back at you this is what the audience like, this is what the audience don't like, this is how you change it. So this is always going to be a question. Again, as I said, the reset button has been pressed. India's seen 4 billion videos in the month of December last year. Now that's a staggering figure. I think for all content creators who want creative autonomy, this is the new medium, this is the new era. What we have to understand is the syntax of this content, the heartbeat of this content. The way this content plays out is likely to be very, very different from television or from films. And I think if we go back into history, we see when television was launched in the world, the film studios were very smug and they said, hey, another screen for our content. But that's not what it turned out. This was a new screen of television and either it progressed or regressed to Rakhi Ka Swayamvar at some point. But that's what it is. It found its own heartbeat. And I think that's what's going to happen with internet as well. It's another screen. It's another form of engagement. It's going to need some new content. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, are the content creators who've been relying on networks for instructions all their lives, are they mature enough to take the decision to say, we're going to try and understand audiences, we're going to try and understand their needs, and we're going to create content for them, and also create the ecosystem around the content. I think that is the big problem is, creative people don't know how to create ecosystems, and that's where partnerships are going to play a very, very important role. So I think looking forward at Optimistics, whereas we're doing television content, big shows like Crime Patrol, Comedy Circus, and that's going to be the mainstay of the television business. What we've done is to cull out a completely different digital team, because that team needs to think very differently from the television team. Their responsibilities are very different. Their understanding of the consumer needs to be distinctly different. The way to market to a consumer needs to be thought about carefully. You're not relying on the channel to do that. And creating the ecosystem around content, I think, is going to be the next big challenge for new media. The elephant in the room, YouTube, is really showing us the way, and we have a partnership with YouTube to work with them and to help all the young content creators to create content and in some way do the rest of the stuff, because creating content is only part of the deal. There's a lot of optimization, placement, all the way to creating revenue. There's a whole value chain that needs to be created. So that's really the new world for content creators. It's beginning to take shape now. You can see that YouTube is now starting a paid subscription model. Earlier on, it was only for film content, but now TV channels or internet TV channels are being introduced into the paid model. So I think there's a whole new world of content, and content creators, whether they have the courage to embrace it or not, is going to be deciding how they're going to be in the future.
Right. Thanks, Jim. In fact, I'm just going to ask both of you this, that how do you create that ecosystem that Sanjeev just spoke about? Any thoughts on that? How do you create this ecosystem to, further build on what you have?
Okay. See, when we talk about new media, the way we see there are two kinds of changes which are happening. One is that access to television channels. So far, when we talk about the packaged content that broadcasters either commissions or buys the content from various content creators and package it as a channel and offer it to subscriber, that so far, let's say it was DTH, cable, IPTV made some inroads, but not very successful, at least in this country. I think that is going to change significantly, because already I am aware of in USA, internet TV is making inroads where it is, with good broadband connection, it is becoming a parallel mode of watching even satellite channels, and one of the Indian companies is doing very well there, where their customers are migrating from DTH or cable to internet service provider for watching the channels. So the barriers to entry to the households are getting dismantled, and today, if you will find that all new TV sets are broadband ready. So it's a question of time, more and more TV sets, and the moment infrastructure, whether through 4G services or other things, it becomes okay. Today, infrastructure broadband is a major bottleneck. The moment it becomes okay, I think there's a huge kind of challenge or competition for cable operators and DTH from a different mode of access which will be available. The other thing which was just mentioned, now finally there is an opportunity which is coming through this developments, through internet penetration, YouTube and various other services, where you don't have to exploit your content or monetize your content, a package channel which has to have 3,000, 2,000 hours of inventory, even if you have a very small library or even a couple of videos. I am aware of certain, let's say, musicians who are making money through their just one video, and they are doing deals with the content creator saying, okay, I don't have money to make that video, but if you can make very good video, whatever money you get from YouTube is all yours. I only want my publicity to happen. So there are different kind of models which are emerging to create content, and you don't need to have large libraries. So if you have an idea, the window is being provided through internet and new media and mobile that even you can make a lot of money through one video itself. I mean, I was reading somewhere the last the size video, perhaps on YouTube itself, made some $4 million YouTube paid him for one video. Now, that's the kind of power of this new media which is coming. So if you have today, creativity within your system, your organization, I think you are no more going to be dependent only on package channels to sell your content.
Priyanka, can I say something at this point which is relevant to what Sunil said?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think, this is very, very critical. Television channels, in the way they've set out the rules for themselves, entertain people across the day. There are time bands. There's an X amount of content that they need to throw at consumers. So I think, whereas television content and content creators are obliged to give you the whole lime, I think digital content is about the lime juice. You don't, as Sunil very rightly says, there's no obligation to fill up a time band. If you've got something to say, say it. I think the most important thing about internet content is about being relevant. The world can be micro-targeted very differently. Television channels are trying to, reach the whole country at one point. How much focus can there be? But with internet, you can micro-target consumers, and you can give them relevant content that will empower them, because television content is push content. People are creating rendezvous with consumers, telling them, come to this place at this time and we'll show you this. However, internet content is pull content. The new consumer has got enough firewalls to hide behind. You cannot reach him. If he doesn't want to see your commercial, if he doesn't want to see your content, he knows how to avoid you. So can you therefore put yourself in his shoes, begin to understand what he's searching for, because search is a very important word out here. All content of the future is going to be dependent on what people are searching for. So can you understand who is your consumer, what he's searching for, what he wants to know, and then create content that is relevant for him. Also, the other very important point out here is again related to search, is when people are searching for something, they're usually searching for an answer. So there's no point giving them 2 hours of content which has 3,000 answers. Can you address the issues they're raising and resolve them for him in an engaging, entertaining, and relevant fashion?
That's an interesting point of push and pull and different searches. Sandeep, I think you wanted to get a word in.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how to condense the whole change in the content into few points, and what I have just noticed, the total content for all the medias or mediums of media is changing, and I'm condensing it to few points. Number one, the biggest change in the content in all these years is, number one, the duration. There's a massive change. There was a time when we were thinking of making a film for 3 hours. Now, the new definition of a feature film is 90 minutes. If your film is for 90 minutes, it's still called a feature film. So there's a huge change that's how we have started thinking about the content. Television programs used to be, one episode used to be 28 minutes. It has been cut down to 22 minutes. In the same way, all news paper articles they have cut down to a news item, and all news agencies, they are begging all their journalists to please write not more than 100 to 150 words for any internet website or something like that. So everything has actually been condensed. That's the biggest change in the contents today. Number two, the change in the language. We have really forgotten the real British English, and we have started using slangs, using mobile language. Rather, I was shocked when I was going through one of the examination paper of a guy, and he has answered all his answers in a mobile language. And it was, for a lecturer, it was so difficult to read. I said, don't worry, I'll sit with you, but you can't fail this guy because he's still delivering the contents. He's talking business. And we had to clear that paper, but obviously, this has become a problem with the content generators also, and people who are the agencies who are displaying that content too. So there's a change in language. The formalities are finished, and the abusive language has become part of a day-to-day viewership. You can't help it, whether it's a feature film or television program, or even sometime even the newspapers have started quoting. अपनी तरफ से नहीं लिखते, वो quoted ting ting. Inverted commas में एक गाली निकाल दी, चल हमारा पेपर ज़्यादा बिकेगा. You know, things like that. Then there is obviously change in the thinking and scripting. Total. We have lost our values. We are no more traditional Indian society, and we want to read something which is ultra modern, which has actually started crossing the boundaries of our day-to-day life. This is what change we have seen. Another very important change we have seen from formal to casual. All the programming, all the writing part, everything used to be very formal when it comes to media. Everything has become casual, including me today. I said there's no need to wear a tie today. Let me be very casual. This is how it has started. I'm part of it. I can't help it. And everything has become pro-audience. There used to be some segment where channel or the big filmmaker or a film media person used to think, I'm sure about it. He used to have a very strong determination that this particular program is going to be a hit. Or even if it's not a hit, it is going to bring some change in the society. No, those days are gone. Any and every program is only pro-audience. That segment now we are missing. And last but not the least, from social values to money value. Everything is measured with money, whether this program, this article, this paper, this film, whether I'm going to get my money back or not. Everything is measured not through that it's going to bring some social changes or not, but it is valued whether it is going to bring back money back to the company or not. This is one of the biggest change. Now, whether it is 14,000 newspapers,